A very warm welcome to StudyIQ. I am Prashant Mauni. The date today is 18 September 2017. Day is Monday. I hope you all are doing good. Let's see what we have got in PIB today. But before moving ahead, please allow me to introduce to our pen drive and tablet courses. Now, if you are preparing for SSC, Bank, UPSC or other state level Public Service Commission exams, then we have different pen drive and tablet courses for all these different exams. The good thing about our pen drive and tablet courses, or the unique selling proposition about our pen drive and tablet courses, is that they are designed by the best faculties of our country. So the things that you are going to get in this one is going to be top of the range. If you have any question or query regarding it, then you can feel free to give us a call on this number, or you can also use our website on which we have chat support. So utilize that things. Right, now before moving ahead, let me share some few good words regarding mistakes. Now I'm sure every one of you would be doing it, and it's not that only you are doing. In fact, it is me as well. I do lots of mistakes every day, and I feel proud of doing mistakes, because when we do mistake, that means we are trying to do something that we have not done yesterday, isn't it? We are always trying to break this boundary, and this is what growth is all about. And in fact, you would be amazed to know that Silicon Valley, from where your iPhones and other technological products are produced or designed or created, if you go to Silicon Valley, then you will find that in Silicon Valley, their business culture is that they celebrate failures and mistakes, right? If your company fails, then you have to throw a party to the other companies who are there, and they will come and they will ask you, how did you make a mistake, and what are the things we should avoid, these are the things, etc., etc. So they will communicate with each other, and they will of course ensure that they are not repeating the same mistake next time. So this is something we should learn from it when we study. If we are not achieving our target, then we should find out like what are the mistakes we are doing. But you should never be afraid of making mistakes, because if you don't make mistakes, you will not grow. With this thing, let's start with one of the most important topic of the day, and that is regarding, as you can see on your screen, you can see on one side you have mountains and mountains of garbage, and on the other side you can see it is basically a sort of a river within a city, isn't it? Now, dear friends, these things are related with urban planning. These things are related with your smart cities. This thing is also related with how we are dealing with all these waste products that are generated in huge quantity in our country. It is pertaining with climate change and environment protection. And if you go through the past question papers, then you will find that you would be happy to know that this sort of questions are asked as well. So if we have a good understanding on this thing, then I'm sure after this discussion you will have at least 3 to 4 points that you can write down in your answer, and you have to write 200 words, so you will have some good solid nearly 40-50% material will be covered here. And there are other points as well that you can you will get some bits and pieces that you can apply in other answers as well. So it is going to be a fruitful discussion. So right, what happened in Ghazipur, you know it, we have discussed it, that there was a huge mountain of this garbage, and because of heavy rainfall it slipped away, and with it took many people with it, with this flowing garbage, or you can say a flowing river of garbage. It took with it property and people, and you can see here a car is in the canal, and these people, there are some people passed away as well, and this was a big issue. And same thing took place in Mumbai. Now bit different, but in Mumbai we had a huge heavy rainfall, and in this heavy rainfall there are some natural reasons, like of course rainfall is something that is natural, isn't it? In the same sense, there was a high tide at that the day when we had this much rainfall. On the same day we were having a high tide, so it was a bit difficult for us to release, or for the water to pass away from the city. But the man-made reasons are plastic. In Mumbai, what actually happened was that most of the drainages were filled with plastic, and where this plastic is coming from, it is not the people of Japan coming here and throwing this plastic, it is us who are doing these things with our city, isn't it? So what could be the possible solution? These mountains are not only limited to Delhi or Mumbai. You find them in each and every town and cities of our every place of our country has this sort of mountains. And so what is the best way to sort it out? Now I have found some good things for you guys, and this is about plastic roads. Now see, in India every single day we produce or 15,000 ton of plastic waste is generated in India on daily basis. This is huge amount. If you, on an average, if we say that a truck can carry 20 ton of weight, then imagine how many trucks would you require every single day to. This is not only 15,000 plus, and this is just plastic. I'm not including the other waste, it is just plastic. So here is the solution. We can make plastic roads out of it, isn't it? And this is a very good example, and this is going to be the focus topic of the day. So basically, when we do this thing, when we build road, and we know that we badly need roads, there are many places in our country, in fact in many cities as well, we don't have proper roads. And if we build roads, then it is going to be fruitful for the whole economy, because infrastructure is one of the basic requirement, and if we have good connectivity, then there are chances of economic development. So it is important. The other thing is that if we are utilizing this plastic in making roads, then it is going to be cheaper as well. On the other side, the problem of plastic mountains will also go away, and the cost will come down. And if we want to expand our road, and if it is working out cheap, then it is nothing better than that, isn't it? And if we go through the World Economic Forum's report, then it has you would feel very happy to know that in India we have 21,000 miles of roads that are made from plastic, and the work is going on and on. All we have to do is we have to boost it, we have to expand it, we have to utilize all these garbages that are lying here and there. Now some technical details how you make plastic roads. So what you have to do is basically you have to mix three things. You have to use aggregate of sand and stone chips, then you have bitumen, you have to heat these things, and then you have to add plastic in it, and again you have to add some more hot bitumen, and there you go, the material is ready. The good thing about it is that it has superior binding quality, right? The chemical that is made, or the material that you produce from adding this whole things, you have a superior binding quality material. You won't be asked questions like how much degree you have to heat, this sort of things, no, but you should keep your eyes and ears open for this bitumen and aggregate of sand and stone chips and shredded plastic, because they can ask you a question like plastic road was there in the news, and what are the other things that goes with it in making roads. So you should know that it is bitumen and sand and stone chips. Anyways, I'm going to provide you some merits of these things as well, so you can keep that in mind as well. Many times you are asked this sort of statements in your MCQ, so you should keep this thing in mind, and of course you can use them in your mains answer writing as well. Now the good thing is that while bitumen use is cut because of plastic, thereby reducing the carbon footprint of road construction. When we are using bitumen and other things, coal tar, so it is of course adding more carbon in the atmosphere, but when we are utilizing or when we are mixing plastic, then of course there is less use of bitumen and other carbon emitting items, so it is going to be good for carbon footprint as well, isn't it? It is going to be much bit greener than what it is at present. The other thing is that it does not absorb water, so they are water resistant in the sense. And the other thing is you know it, and I'm sure every one of us has faced this thing, that we have many potholes in city area as well. I'm not talking about villages. If you just focus on city, then you find that within posh areas as well you find potholes. And you would be surprised to know that in India every year, right, 10,000 people every year, 10,000 people in India die in road accident because of potholes. Can you imagine? 10,000 people. These are the things that are avoidable, and plastic road can provide that solution because it is a sort of water resistant material. The other thing is that Bangalore has successfully built so far 600 kilometers of plastic road, and this thing is catching up. We are seeing many other cities are also planning this. They are also implementing it, and many cities have also taken it within their smart city plan as well. In November 2015, the central government issued some guidelines regarding plastic road, how you should use it, how you blend it, etc., etc., and it was predominantly targeting this Pradhan Mantri Gram Sadak Yojana. As I told you, if our villages are connected with towns and cities, then of course it is going to bring more economic development, or you can say that urban amenities, the facilities that you get in an urban area will reach village area, and with this the migration of human beings from rural area to urban area will also we can stop it in a sense, or we can reduce its flow. So there are many benefits once you have roads, right? The whole economy can come up. So there are many examples I can go, but then we won't be able to finish this topic, so I'm providing you just a couple of examples. Then we have talked about European countries as well, and I have given you examples of Netherlands and England and other countries. So in European Union as well, they are very keen, and they are trying their level best to use as much as plastic road, or construct as much as plastic roads as they can. If you observe the way China is dealing with Africa, then China is building plastic roads in, say for example, Kenya and other countries, and with this it is also sorting out its plastic, and on the benefit is that it can build that diplomatic relation. So it can have a sort of soft corner in the hearts of Kenyan and other African countries, that they feel that okay, China is building road for us, but it is cheaper roads, they are waterproof, and you know that this place are tropical area, isn't it? They are located on equator, this Kenya and other countries, so they have rainfall every day. So these are the roads particularly these are the things they require over there. Now, plastic man of our country, plastic man of India, Professor R. Vasudevan. Now, the reason why he is called plastic man is not because he is producing or wasting too much plastic. He is called plastic man because he has done some exceptional work on plastic, and he has produced a new material called plastone. It works as a replacement of cement block or cement stone. We know that cement is expensive. The other thing is that with cement, when you have a rainfall, cement can absorb water as well. The other thing is that when you have a sort of dry season, then you find cracks that are produced in cement. So these are the issues with it, but with the plastic road there is nothing like that. And with plastone is a sort of non-porous, so it will not suck water. The other thing is that it is water resistant, and this can be used. Mr. Vasudevan has successfully tried and tested this thing in making the base of canal. So with this, the water will not penetrate or seep into the ground. So in this way we can transport water safely, and the other thing is that it is not polluting. So this is the thing, plastone. Keep this in mind as well. Plastic man of India is Professor R. Vasudevan, and Pradhan Mantri Gram Sadak Yojana and other things that we have discussed are important. This is something out of the box. That's what I believe. It will fetch you good marks when you talk about urban planning, or you talk about smart city or climate change, how we can get rid of plastic and how we should recycle, etc., etc. Moving on to another item, and this is coming from Ministry of External Affairs. Now the thing is, our Minister Sushma Swaraj ji, she is going to represent India at the annual United Nations General Assembly, and this session is going to take place in New York. Now every year, that is in September, in the month of September, you have United Nations General Assembly. What UN is all about, I will talk to you in a minute about that thing as well. But let me tell you, like from the name you can see that United Nations, that means every nations are united on this platform. It is a General Assembly. That means they are going to talk about general items or the major important items. It is going to be a sort of meeting, yearly meeting is going to take place, and all the member countries are going to take part in it. Now if we go through the history of United Nations, then we find that we had a World War I and World War II between in the early years of 18th century. So from 1900 to 1945, in this period of time we had two major world wars, and once the world war was over, the second world war, when it got over after the bombing on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, the world decided like it is enough, we don't want the third one, so what should we do? So they decided to come out with a sort of institution that is going to ensure that every country, whether they took part in World War I or not, everyone is on the same page and no one wants war. So this institution came into being. So in 1945, after World War, it was established. At that point of time there were 50 countries. India was a country as well at that point of time. India was a sort of as soon as we got independence, we joined it, and because we were under British rule, so directly indirectly we were with United Nations. Main purpose at that point of time was averting a world war. At that point of time, no one wanted a sort of World War III. So this was the main reason for its birth. Now, General Assembly, if we talk about General Assembly, then I would give you best example is the parliament meeting that takes place in our country, isn't it? So in the same way, here in our parliament, we see MPs, member of parliaments, are taking part in discussion. So here you find that it is the world parliament, so you have member countries. So like India, just example, India is a sort of member of parliament that is representing India in it is a sort of constituency that is representing itself in United Nations General Assembly. So in this sense, you find 193 countries. They are the full-time member. There are other countries as well, like say for example Vatican is there, then you have Palestine. Like these countries, they can take part, but they are not full members, so they cannot vote here. That is the only thing. But here, every country, everyone has one vote, and all 193 country can vote in all the discussions. The other thing is the main thing, or the main discussion, is pertaining to peace and security. If you don't have peace and security, then you cannot expect development. For example, if we go through, or if we observe what happened in Amarnath pilgrim attack, terror attack, then we know that after the terror attack there were many people who decided that we don't want to go to Kashmir because we don't find peace and security over there. So in the same sense, if you don't have peace and security, then you cannot find any sort of there won't be any possibility of economic development or other sort of development. So it is very important, and at present there are two important things. One is climate change and terrorism. These are the two biggest problem through which the world is going, or the humanity is facing, these two things. When we talk about climate change, it includes every being on this earth, every living being, and when we talk about terrorism, then it is pertaining to mankind. Anyways, then the other things that takes place in this General Assembly is resolutions. It is basically like laws, right? We know that in our parliament we pass laws, or the bills are presented, then everyone says yes, pass this bill, we are happy with it, then it becomes a law. In the same way, here all the issues or whatever decisions are to be taken. So in the sense, it is the things are drafted and then it is presented, and if every country says okay, go ahead with it, if there is a clear majority, then the resolution is passed. There are some security issues or things pertaining to security. You need special majority like 2/3, but we are just understanding how it is working. We are not going into too many details. Of course, we will talk about it because we will see Prime Minister visiting there. So at that point of time, we will go in much more in depth. We will do a sort of in-depth analysis about important topics. Anyways, so basically at present, when it was started, it was about averting a World War III, and at present it is about making a better future for the whole world. This is the main aim on which United Nations is working at present. Now Sushma Swaraj ji, she has already she's on her way, or she might have reached as we are speaking, and she's going to address the session on Saturday. By time she's going to have a trilateral meeting with her counterpart, that is the foreign ministers of United States and Japan, and apart from that, there is a UN reform is also going to take place, or there is a meeting, high-level meeting is going to take place on UN reform. Now what are UN reforms? Reforms basically means, as I told you regarding, we started this lecture with a sort of mistakes, isn't it? So in real life, what happens is, once you start doing something, then you find that okay, these are the things that I have to sort it out, these are the things that are not going on well, so we have to find some ways, or we have to address that issues, isn't it? Now United Nations started in basically 1945, and it's been more than 70 years now, isn't it? So the world has moved ahead. Much water has been flown over Ganges. Basically means the time has changed. Many countries that were not that much important, now they are important. The issues that were pertaining at that point of time, now we have different issues like climate change and terrorism and other things. So it is necessary for everyone to it is necessary for the United Nations as well to change itself and keep itself up to date with the current situation. So it is going to be that sort of reforms, and it is going to be chaired by President Donald Trump, and 120 countries are in favor, or they have supported, or they are in the same page when it comes to making reforms with the structure of United Nations. We have to wait and watch regarding this thing. The next thing item is coming from Prime Minister's office, and this is about tribal. Now, Prime Minister was in Gujarat yesterday, and we have talked about Sardar Sarovar Dam in Hindu English analysis, so I'm not going into all these details. But the thing is, basically what is coming out from Gujarat or Prime Minister's office is that Prime Minister has said that he's going to create, the government is going to they are going to open museums in different parts of the country to acknowledge the contribution of tribals in India's freedom struggle. If you observe, or if you go in detail a little bit before 1857, then you find that there were many sort of skirmishes or conflicts between tribal community and British East India Company. And they have, this tribal people of our country, they have given a very tough fight to this British company. So of course we should celebrate it, and so far we know that they are left behind a little bit when it comes to mainstreaming and when it comes to overall development. So when we promote this sort of things, when we make museums, then of course we are paying tribute to their contribution, and this is going to of course create a sense of pride within the tribal community as well. Apart from that, the other important thing that is coming from this item is that Sadhu Bet. Sadhu Bet is a small river island. Remember, you find islands in not only in ocean and sea, but there are also islands in river as well. So this Sadhu Bet is this one you find in Narmada river. So keep this in mind, just in case if you find a question sort of match the following sort of question, that Narmada, and they will give you another option, or they may give you Sadhu Bet, and you have to find the right river on which it is located. So this is important for you guys. Now basically it is in, again, another important thing regarding this Sadhu Bet is that we are creating a 182-meter tall statue of Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel. This is going to be roughly twice the height of Statue of Liberty of New York. Apart from that, dear friends, the Prime Minister has said that he is going to, these museums are going to reflect this the era of 1857, between 1857 and 1947, nearly 90 years of time in which tribals have played a significant role in fighting for India's independence. And today I was reading a newspaper. It is a very reputed newspaper, and I found a couple of things that could be helpful for you. It was basically about tribal, and it is coming, the main thing was regarding Gujarat, and it was coming from it was discussing this thing regarding tribal king and their society. So there was a king called Silpit Singh, and this tribal king, under his flag, they fought a war with British in 1842. See, I told you before 1857 as well they had many conflicts. So before 1857, that is in 1842, Silpit Singh, he was a tribal king. Under his flag they had a war, and it is named as Laskaria Amba. So keep this in mind as well, just in case if you find this sort of question. Moving on to another item, and this is from Ministry of Home Affairs. Now, Home Minister has clearly stated that Pakistan should end their nefarious activities, all these miscreant things they are doing. They are pushing this sort of intruders or infiltrators in our country, the way they are attacking us, or the way they are conducting ceasefire violations. So this, until and unless they don't stop this sort of activities, we are not going to come on a table and discuss things with them. Apart from that, he has clearly stated that India is definitely a peace-loving country. We are not going to be we are not a country that will fire the first bullet, but of course if you are firing on us, then we are not going to sit down. You will get a befitting reply from our country, because we are capable in every sense. Apart from that, you are seeing that in every government functions, or on every platform, government is promoting India, New India by 2022, and the main theme here is that government wants everyone to participate in it and transform the whole country. Government has clearly stated that government alone cannot do it, and this is something we can understand it as well. But the main things that government wants to do by 2022 is get rid of poverty, unemployment, corruption, illiteracy, terrorism and Naxalism. And if we achieve this thing by 2022, hopefully we will, then we will find definitely our country will be metamorphosized. We will have a new country altogether. Right, moving on to another item, and this is from Ministry of Defense. Now there are some things that are important here. I'll give you a brief story what took place. Basically, Andaman and Nicobar Island, it was going through a heavy downpour. basically heavy rainfall was going on since 13 September, and because of this there were the sea was very rough, so naturally you cannot, because of heavy rainfall the flights were cancelled and the sea was rough, so the waterways were closed as well. So there were many people who were stranded over there, like nearly 24 civilians who were tourists. They were stranded over there, and apart from that there were 54 officers as well of Defence Services Staff College. So they were stuck over here. So the Naval or the Defence Ministry under with the help of Navy, Indian Navy, they sent two first attack craft class ships. They are INS Bangaram and INS Batimal. This was sent over there, and with the help of these two ships they have managed to evacuate these people. They are at present accommodated within the ship, and they are provided with all these refreshments, and the Navy is looking after them basically, right? So this was the thing. You can keep you can remember, try to remember the name of these two things. And important thing is Andaman and Nicobar Island. Now let's see where it is. See, here is your India, and we can see on the western side of our country we have Arabian Sea. On the eastern side we have Bay of Bengal. So in Bay of Bengal, if you come down a little bit, or on the southern side, then you find that here Andaman and Nicobar Island. Now this is the main zoom sort of picture of Andaman and Nicobar Island, and you can see here, if you observe South Asia, then you find that it is very near, or it is having a proximity with Myanmar, Thailand, and all this country. Malaysia as well is not far from this place, and many times you find this sort of questions as well. So of course I would recommend all of you to open your Atlas book and scan this thing, try to create a picture. Means do spend some time after this thing and try to think from different angle. Now I'm going to show you a couple of important things. First of all, before I forget, one of the most important thing is that one of the oldest tribal community, that is known as Jarwa, right? Jarwa community, you find them in this place, in Andaman and Nicobar Island, particularly in Nicobar Island. Now this community, they are so tribal. When I say so tribal, in the sense that they don't know anything about us, right? And we also know very few thing about them. A couple of years ago there was a sort of shameful incident when some tourists offered chips and other items that we normally consume to these people, and you can imagine that they have never tasted or tried food that we eat. They are living in jungle, they don't know anything about outside world, and many people died because they were not able to digest or these things that we normally eat. So you can imagine when I say that they are the oldest, right? And Supreme Court has strictly ordered that no one should be allowed to venture around in their area. Tourism is totally a big no in just the area where you find Jarwa people. The other important item is Port Blair is the administrative head. You won't say capital, because Andaman and Nicobar Islands are our union territory. The other thing is you find Andaman Sea, Indian Ocean, and one more important thing is that 10-degree channel is passing right between, roughly speaking, between, or it is dividing Andaman and Nicobar Island. 10-degree channel. Channel basically means it is a sort of waterway, right? So keep this in mind. This sort of questions could be asked, like where is 8-degree channel, 9-degree channel. I have a couple of questions for you as well in the end of this lecture, so we'll discuss more about it. Now Caribbean Islands, we have talked about them during the time of Hurricane Irma, and for all new listeners I would request all of you to check out our previous lectures, and you will get all the details regarding Hurricane Irma and other things that we have discussed. But the new thing that I want to share with you is that a tropical storm Maria is forming in this part of the world, and at present it is category 1. We have talked about different categories and their speed and other things, but then as well for new listeners I have provided a small picture here, so please help yourself with it. We have also discussed the storm surge in our earlier discussion, so I'm not going into that detail, but you can keep this thing, you can take away this thing, and this is called Saffir-Simpson scale. This is basically used to scale the category of hurricanes. So if you find a question in your MCQs, then you can use this. Now moving on to Caribbean Islands, this is Caribbean Islands. So for all new listeners or the new people who have new students who have just started following our PIB lectures, help yourself with it. try to observe it from all different angles. You can see Tropic of Cancer is passing from here. You find Cuba and other islands are here, and North America is, you can see Florida, so you can guess, right? This is North America, this is South America here. Brazil and other countries are located in this part of the world. A couple of days ago we have talked about Costa Rica as well, which is just here, and Panama Canal is here. That is a sort of waterway or a link that is connecting Pacific Ocean and Atlantic Ocean with each other. Right, moving on, dear friends, some questions for you guys. Name a country, Caribbean country, with which India plays cricket. 8° and 9° channel, where do you find them in India? Biggest river island of our country. I'm not talking about Andaman and Nicobar, I'm talking about river island. Where do you find them? Give me the name of the layer of the atmosphere where you find ozone shield, and what was the theme of 23rd World Ozone Day. With this I end this discussion. Do not forget to get your pen drive and tablet courses. Of course, pass me your valuable comments. Remember, let me tell you that I'm sure many of you would be knowing many answers, and many of you will post it as well. But remember, if in case one of your friends or other colleagues have already posted answer, that does not mean that you should not. Of course, you have to put your answer as well. So be participative, right? Do mistakes, I don't mind, go ahead with it, but do take part, and let's make it a sort of interactive platform. Subscribe, share, like, pass me a valuable comment. With this I end this discussion. I'll see you all soon. Till then, enjoy your studies, take care. Jai Hind.